The following is a presentation of Fox Sports.
Darwin Quintero, who's through! And in towards Miguel Ibarra! The Cali Kid scores! And Minnesota United are flying here! At the peak of the West, the Minnesota Nomads look to claim headlines again and reassert themselves towards the summit. And with a pensive and grimace glance, they look to rattle the team, the standard bearers and the table toppers in their own backyards. On the cusp of downtown Los Angeles and Bank of California Stadium, it's LAFC hosting Minnesota United. Gendrine weather report is typically Californian, 79 degrees and perfect for Major League Soccer. And a very warm welcome into the broadcasting booth. Callum Williams alongside former Gopher soccer star Kyndra de St. Aubin. And Kyndra, before we sink our teeth into the next 90 minutes here in Los Angeles, let's go back to Tuesday evening, a historic evening for Minnesota United.
I think the biggest point I got to hammer home is that Minnesota United should be absolutely proud of the effort that they put forth just to get to the U.S. Open Cup final. It was quite the stretch. They didn't come away with a victory in this match. It was in Atlanta's home stadium of Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It was going to be a tough place to play, a tough place to go and get a victory. But Minnesota United put on quite the performance. They did what they needed to do in that second half to make it interesting, to make it a game. They had their opportunities. They created their chances. They just need to find a way to finish. It's not just about the U.S. Open Cup final. It's about every game in MLS regular season, and if they make the playoffs from here on out, create the chances, but you got to put them away.
Atlanta United with yet another Major League trophy. Now let's refocus on to the Western Conference standings, shall we? And it simply couldn't get any tighter. This perhaps the closest race for postseason we have ever seen.
This is absolutely nuts. I mean, we talked, it's been a week and a half since Minnesota United played in a league game, and they went from second to seventh. The movement in the Western Conference is just madness. It's crazy. We saw Seattle and LA Galaxy playing earlier today. LAFC is still riding high. I mean, they're going to run away with it at the 62 points. But the Western Conference is unbelievable. Eastern Conference is getting tight as well. And Minnesota United have got to capitalize on their home matches at Allianz Field and see what they can take from the road tonight against LAFC. And then, of course, next week in Houston as well.
And operating at the peak of the Western Conference, you mentioned them, LAFC can hardly put a foot wrong at the moment.
I was trying to figure out what to put on this graphic because they've broken just about every record there is, and they still have more to go. And this is with their stars. Without their stars, it doesn't even matter. They are flying. They are cruising to 62 points and 19 wins. They're crushing every single Major League regular season record to be had.
So this is how Minnesota United plan to conquer them. The starting 11 presented by Allianz looks like this. 4 changes for Adrian Heath's men. Molino, Gasper, Lurd on international duty, and the injured Ozzy Alonso all absent. Brent Coleman, Lawrence Olam, Mwimbe Tarat on the left-hand side, and Darwin Quintero all come into the starting 11. And alongside Darwin Quintero, Mason Toye.
And once again, Mason Toye getting the start. He got the start in Atlanta as well, and he's got a point to prove up top. Just being called into the 23s, he's got a point to prove, not just for Minnesota United, but for his country as well. And Darwin Quintero, a lot of work to be done up top to really reaffirm and reassert his position in that scoring role for Minnesota United.
For LAFC, 4 adjustments, including a changing of the goalkeeping guard. Sisson Yeager, the goalkeeper, comes in for just his 5th start in Major League Soccer. The likes of Wynn, Blockman, and the $11.5 million man Brian Rodriguez comes into the front 3. Peter Shaw, Miller, and Kay, and of course Carlos Vela, the player, out. But Kyndra, this side, this LAFC team at the top of the Western Conference, gets so much attention from an attacking point of view, but actually it's about time we concentrate on the back line.
Absolutely. Walker Zimmerman Zimmerman, a player who was just called into the men's national team for this upcoming camp in these two friendlies. And I think this back line, who's only allowed 15 goals in MLS regular season this season, 2019 at home, they do not get enough credit. We talk a lot about their attacking prowess, but their defense is absolutely solid.
A big day for Minnesota United. Can they conquer the table-topping LAFC here at Bank of California Stadium? Stay with us as the Advocare countdown to kickoff continues.
Number 2 or number 3?
Leader as the Loons face off against Pachuca for an international friendly on Saturday, September 7th at 7 p.m. Visit MNUFC.com for more information. And a very warm welcome back to the Element Electronics half-time show, where at the half, Minnesota United lead table-topping LAFC by 2-0. And this is how they did it. Chances aplenty, the first falling to Mason Toy.
And look, we were just talking about this before we came back onto the halftime, wondering if this one was going to haunt Mason Toy and Minnesota United because he didn't capitalize on that opportunity. He didn't take the shot. Well, he made up for it. 2 chances and he buried them, but LAFC is always on the front foot. You can never count them out. You can't fall asleep. You can't turn off for a second. We talked about how dangerous the front 3 is, how dangerous the front 6 is. Kudos and hats off to Minnesota United's back line and midfield for containing LAFC in the first half.
And Minnesota United took the lead through Mason Toy's 5th goal of the season in Major League Soccer.
And all the work from him starting on that near sideline to keep possession. Nice little turn there to find the open pass. Jan Greguš could have gone out the other side. Minnesota United uses their wing play and their overlapping runs so often, but instead Jan Greguš opts to make that little through ball, that little through pass to Mason Toy, who turns his hips and buries it. An absolutely stunning finish for the second-year player.
And stunning celebrations in St. Paul. Minnesota would lead by a 0-0, and soon after that would lead by 2.
And look at him just reading the play as Darwin Quintero makes the run. He finds the touch off of Darwin Quintero. Darwin Quintero makes that little run in behind, draws the defender away from a little bit, and a curled finish, left foot, beats the keeper, 2-0 Minnesota United, and more importantly to me, they went into halftime up 2-0. LAFC is so good offensively, so good in on the attack. You can see the possession, but that's what LAFC does. If you're the opposition, you're Minnesota United, you have to be comfortable without the ball and then find a way to break out and finish your opportunities, all of which Minnesota United has done so far tonight.
Minnesota United raising the eyebrows of North American soccer and leading at the home of table-topping LAFC by 2-0, and there's plenty more where that came from, you feel. Minnesota United with so much more to do in the next 45 minutes. Can they claim their 13th victory here of all places? Tonight's trivia question is brought to you by Minnesota Corn Growers Association. Which LAFC player has a brother who played for Minnesota United during the team's tenure in the NASL? The answer is B. Carlos Vela's brother Alejandro made 8 appearances for the Loons in 2015. Thanks to Minnesota Corn Growers Association for the question.
Congrats, Coach. Go enjoy celebrating win number 50. Cal, Kendra, back up to you.
50 wins for Adrian Heath, 13 for Minnesota United in Major League Soccer this season, and their latest comes here. LAFC fall, Bob Bradley crumbles, Diego Rossi and the 32-52 quiver. Minnesota march on.